In this lesson, let's review how we can integrate the React library into Laravel application when using Vite. So first of all, we have to install React itself, as well as React DOM. And then we also have to install corresponding Vite plugin that provides support for React. It is called plugin React, and we are installing this dependency with the flag save dev since it will be needed only during development. Right after installation process is finished, we're going to initialize our React application and put this title into React component. So let's do just that. In my main blade view, I'm going to add container with an ID of app where we're going to mount our React application. And what we will need to do to initialize the React application is to firstly import all necessary dependencies such as React as well as React DOM. And then I'm going to import root component that I'm going to create soon from the components folder. And down here, let's reference React DOM and call method createRoot, passing DOM element where we'd like to mount our application. I'm passing DOM element with an ID of app, and at the end we have to call render in order to render root component into this container. Note that we are using JSX syntax in here, so we have to rename extension on JSX. We don't need this title.js file anymore, let's remove it, and instead I'm going to create app.jsx component, and in here let's import useStateHook, and then add default export of our root component with the name of app. Here I'm basically going to output heading. This heading text will be dynamic, meaning that whenever we're gonna hover over this element, it will change. So I'm going to create a reactive variable title, and initial value of this variable will be Laravel, and then let's print out the value of this variable inside this h1 element. And of course, to make it dynamic, we have to register a couple of event listeners. So the first listener will be on mouse enter. Here I'm going to modify a reactive variable and assign value of React. And additionally, we're gonna have an opposite event listener, and whenever we're gonna move the mouse away from this title, we're going to set the text of the title to Laravel. And there is actually one more thing we need to do in order to make React application work, and that is inside our blade view. Right before we are including our JavaScript file, we also have to include another blade directive called Vite React Refresh, like so. And let's also not forget that we still have to include plugin React in our Vite configuration file. Firstly, we need to import this, and then call this function from within plugins array. And this way we're kind of letting Vite know how to handle React components. And if I'll take a look in the browser, sure enough, we're gonna see our title. That means React application has been initialized. And when I'll hover over this title, the text will be changing. So what happened behind the scenes is when browser has requested our JavaScript file app.jsx. In here, it has seen this import, then it fired another request to fetch this React component. But of course, browser does not understand the syntax of React component, so before giving this file back to the browser, Vite has performed several transformations on this file that we can see in the Vite inspector. So here we're seeing that JSX code has been transformed into JavaScript code, understandable by browser. And at the end, let's try to build this project for production. As you can see, we're getting an error. That is because I forgot to change JS extension on JSX inside vite.config.js in here. So let's rerun build once again, and this time it succeeded. In the browser we got working React application, and CSS as well as JavaScript assets have been loaded separately. And our JavaScript bundle includes all the code to handle React application. And this was the last lesson of this playlist using Vite and Laravel applications. Link to the source code of this lesson will be in the video description.